Hello, I've interviewed Kenny Biddle several times, the last being in advance of his talk at CSICon in October, and that was our first video interview. Right after we spoke, Kenny got some big news, I would say huge news, that I thought was worthy of a follow-up interview. So welcome, Kenny.
Hello, thank you.
For any viewers who don't know who you are, let me give them a briefing here.
Sure.
Kenny's been a former honest-to-goodness ghost hunter, just like you see on TV. But since his eyes were opened, he's been doing proper paranormal investigations and solving mysteries for over 2 decades. His investigations have included everything from debunking ghost hunting gadgets and famous haunted houses to investigating UAP reports, to exposing psychics and recreating photographic evidence of supposed ghosts. He co-hosts 2 live stream shows each week, providing an informed, skeptical approach to paranormal topics. He also writes an online column, A Closer Look, for Skeptical Inquirer, and produces the vlog series Ghosts in the Machine, detailing his various investigations. He frequently attends paranormal-themed events to bring skepticism and critical thinking where it is much needed, and he talked about that a little bit at CSICon. Also, Kenny was elected a CSI Fellow in 2020. And I interviewed him on the heels of that announcement in an article, which I named Meet CSI's Newest Fellow, Kenny Biddle. And you can find that by Googling that or looking at my Skeptical Inquirer online website. But today is about something else. Rumor has it you've had a monumental career change. I hear you're now employed by CFI as their, drumroll, chief investigator.
Yes. So it's actually, so I was corrected because I thought it was CFI Chief Investigator, but I was corrected because it's CSI.
Okay. I actually had a question about that.
Because I had to get this explained to me too, because there's lots of branches.
Please explain that. That was a question I was going to ask later, but you brought it up, and it's a fantastic time. What is the difference between CFI, the Center for Inquiry, and CSI, the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry?
So the best I can give you is that CFI, Center for Inquiry, is the umbrella. That's everything is under CFI. So what I am the chief investigator of is the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry. So that part is me, and that deals with the fringe topics and alt med and stuff like that, homeopathy and all kinds of crap like that.
So I've not heard this title before, by the way. The chief investigator name, is that something they've created for you, or are you taking over for someone? Do other people hold it? What's the deal there?
So I don't think there was a chief investigator title before this. I don't know. I think this is the first time they're using it. I'm not sure, and I'm sure the higher ups will correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I'd be surprised if there was, because frankly, I spent like 10 minutes Googling it just to see CSI, CFI. The only hits I got was the TV show. Crime scene investigation.
Yeah, so I do agree. I think they created this position because it was filled. Joe Nickel was here for so many years, and he recently retired. So I mean, there's big void. I mean, he's not done yet. Don't get me wrong, he's not done yet. He's still writing pieces, but just not as much anymore. And there's a lot more stuff that we can do online nowadays that he's not really adept to. So he doesn't really.
He was more old school regarding technology.
He's very old school, which is great. He's a wealth of information, and I still tap his brain once in a while to get that old school information.
And you got to meet him and work with him previously, right?
Yes. Yeah. I've been able to write some articles for the print magazine for Skeptical Inquirer. And we did 2 on photographs, different kinds of ghost photographs. And then we did one on miracle photographs, which had more of a religious angle to it. And we worked pretty good together. I love the guy. He's been in here. He actually came in the week after I started and sat right on the other side of the desk and was very happy that I was here. So that was great because honestly, he's been a mentor to me for years. And it was nice to get that approval that, I'm kind of taking the reins here and going about it. I have my own style, and he was very approving of it. So I appreciate that a lot.
That's nice. Yeah. And so just to be clear, this isn't a hobby, right? This is a real job, complete with a paycheck from CSI and an office. This is not your basement
Yes.
anymore here, right behind you in your house. This is at CFI headquarters, right?
Yes, I am in Amherst, New York, so in Buffalo. And this is their main headquarters, and this is my office. And you want a tour? You
Yeah,
want a
yeah,
tour?
absolutely.
So I
Pivot the
have,
camera. Yeah.
I literally have a corner office. So these are my windows to my left, and they go out to a patio. I can't stretch the camera too much, but there's a patio out here with where we can have lunch during the spring and summer months. Of course, my whole collection of books here, which this is not all of them. I have I
That's
have a
amazing.
few more at home. And then it goes over to, oh, there's one of my studio lights, but then I have shelves over here with different things. There's another bookshelf right there, but it's facing the other way. But there's a lot of artifacts, so different things from some investigations that I've done over the years, and then there's lots of, I like to collect things, so I collect a lot of novelty items or things along the way about ghosts and Bigfoot and UFOs and stuff like that. So yeah, this is me. I love
It's
it.
quite amazing. Yeah, I watched your live stream when you on your personal channel where you announced it, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone so happy about a job change, except
Right.
I don't know, maybe King Charles, but taking
Well,
the reins of the
this
monarchy.
this has been, I've been doing this, and I think you mentioned it, for like 2 decades, and it's been a hobby. It's been something I've done in my spare time. I would go to my normal day job, work 8 to 10 hours, come home, and then spend some of my free time
And then do what you really like for
what I
basically
really
free.
love,
Right.
this. And it's the feeling, the enthusiasm, the happiness that you saw during that broadcast was because it's been 20 plus years of just busting my ass, just doing what I thought was good work, which I still think is good work. Just getting the critical thinking out there, teaching people how to think, not what to think, getting the skepticism out there, injecting science where it was needed, and solving mysteries and showing people how to solve these mysteries by doing these articles and doing these videos and doing these live streams and doing lectures and workshops and all this, constantly doing it. And to finally have that kind of recognition from the people that I admire. I mean, I think we have similar stories when it comes to Skeptical Inquirer. We discovered it, through our kind of transitions from like, for me, it was from believer to skeptic.
Yeah, I was a
found skeptic.
believer as a
Yes.
teenager anyway, yes.
And then, now here we are. You're writing articles and doing interviews. I was doing the same thing, and now I'm sitting in an office in the main headquarters, spending my day doing what I love to do. And it blows my mind.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun. I mean, so far, I just get to research. I get to research things and look people up and test claims. And I mean, I still go home because right now I'm renting a place that's literally a minute walk from my
Nice.
office, which is a great commute, by the way. But I'm still doing experiments where I run home because I have an idea, because I'm working on something. I'm like, oh, I need to do this. I need the space. Now I can do it here, or I can run home if I need a certain piece of furniture. And I'm doing it, and I'm thinking, this is my job. This is amazing. So yes, I'm a little happy,
And how long ago was the announcement? How long have you had the job?
I started October 10th
And
of
today, for the record,
2022,
is November the 14th.
14th. So
Yes.
just
Okay. So
over
it's
a
a
month.
little over a month. And you found
Yeah.
out about this just before CSICon, which you were a speaker at.
Yes.
So how did this affect your perception of the conference and because now this is the first time you're going as an employee,
Yeah.
right? And
So
also it was the first time you were doing a talk from the main stage. So tell me a little
yes.
bit about that. What was the difference being there this year?
So the difference was the week leading up to it, I think 2 weeks prior, when I got hired and everything was in motion, and I was here setting up, and I was sitting in here, and I remember Barry Carr talking to me, and then all
Who,
of a
who
sudden
runs
you
the
saw,
conf for people who don't know, who runs the conference,
yes,
right? And also CSI.
yes. So you saw the light bulb go on, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, you work for us now." Oh, and then he got excited. And I'm like, oh, all right. So this is a working vacation now, which is good. I mean, usually in previous years when I had the opportunity to speak, it was always like I was doing the workshops on Thursday. So my goal was to get through Thursday, make sure I did a good job, make sure I had all the information and everyone was entertained and educated and enjoyed themselves. That was it. So I was a nervous wreck up until that point.
Oh,
Because
and that was just the beginning. So
yeah, that was just the beginning of the conference. Once that was over, I was like, oh, I can relax. I can just enjoy everything, do as I please. This time, it was still fun, but in a different way. So I got there and I was able to help out not only the CSI, CFI staff, but I was just part of getting everything together and helping the speakers. I got to spend 2 hours with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
wow.
Just
Who could say that?
there was only like a handful of us, maybe 6 people in the room. So I got to have a conversation with him. We spoke about different things. He ran some ideas by me, and I'm thinking like,
Wait, why
how
was
can
he
you
asking
get
you
any
about
better?
astrophysics? What?
Well, no, we were talking because he saw my badge, and my badge said CSI Chief Investigator. So he asked about it. He's a very curious. I mean, the man is so elegant, and just I could sit and listen to him forever. It's like Morgan Freeman. He just has that voice and way of speaking that you just want to be like, yeah, okay, you can talk. I will not leave ever.
So what was he talking to regarding investigations for in his realm? Like, what was he interested
So
in?
he had one thing come up. He's like, hey, I just want to run this by you. And he started talking about a series of photographs someone had sent him. And you probably have seen these. It's a series of photographs of a basketball hoop, and the moon, the full moon, slowly goes through.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I've seen him a few times before, and he's like, well, this is what I told him, and let me know what you think of this. And I'm like, this is great. Neil deGrasse Tyson is asking what I think of his answer for this. This is great. So we went through it, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I would have said, because the moon doesn't actually come straight down. It goes across the sky, or from our perspective.
Yeah.
And it had changed size slightly because they needed it to fit exactly in the hoop, whoever made these photographs. So there was a few errors. But it was just so much fun being able to talk to him. And then, then he ended the conversation, or that part of the conversation, with, so if I get stuff sent to me and I'm not sure about it and it's in your area, I can send it to you.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, yeah. On the outside, it was cool. I was like, yeah, yeah, if I'm not busy.
Whatever.
Inside, I'm like,
I'll look at it if I'm not busy.
yeah.
So I have to ask, is this now full-time job here going to affect your live stream shows that you've been doing for years?
So the only thing that's really going to change is that you'll see it under Skeptical Inquirer now, because it is skeptical outreach and work. So it's not going to be an independent thing. It's brought under. So now I'll be doing it from the office as part of my work with Skeptical Inquirer and
Okay.
CSI. So yeah, because it's still outreach, it's still skepticism and science, and bringing that. I'm still going to do it and enjoy it. You won't see me drink as much as before, because it's professional capacity now. So I got to show some professionalism, a little bit. But it'll still be.
It just has to be labeled Kenny's iced tea.
Yeah, that's all. As opposed to specialty.
So does this? Let's see. Is Three Tortured Souls also going to be affected?
That might be affected a little bit more. I don't know. We're in limbo right now because one of the guys, he travels a lot for work, and he's been traveling a lot. So we haven't done it. I haven't done any live streams since I started here. because just the transition with moving, I've been going back and forth
I
between
noticed.
Philly and Buffalo on the weekends. So I usually put in like 10, 12-hour days here, not because I have to, but because I love doing this. And I just get caught up into what I'm doing. And then Friday, I usually leave either I take that day and my travel day back to Philly, or I leave a little early and pack the stuff in the house and then bring it back up here.
Oh, how long are you going to still have to do that trip weekly?
December 1st is settlement day.
Okay,
So
good.
that'll be it. After that, I don't care what's in that house. It's not mine anymore.
Including the ghosts that you clearly don't admit to.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could stay there.
Everything stays. They stay rent free anyway. So
From all the dolls that Kenny has, the haunted dolls, which is what I'm talking about.
yeah. Yeah, that's all. The mystery museum that I had in my basement is all in boxes now. There's a few items that are over on the side here, but I'm actually working with Tim Benga, who is one of the directors here, and he runs everything. Like Tim runs so much. The libraries that are here. He runs the Ingersoll Museum. He runs a lot of things. Anything that's shipped for CSICon and stuff, he does. I mean, I'm underestimating what he does because he just does so much. But there's some display cases that are out in the hallway here, out in the lobby outside my door, and he's gonna let me use one or two of them to display some of the items that I had in the Mystery Museum, and that go along with investigations, mystery solving, critical thinking, skepticism. So I have quite a few items that I've investigated myself to find out either
Will it fit the Dybbuk box?
Oh, the Dybbuk box is already here. That's already in the office. There it is. It's behind the cleaning wipes there because I was cleaning everything off. But yeah, it's back there.
The only item I like to say with actual spirits in it that you
Yes. Shh. Nobody knows.
So how did your family react to this whole changing career, moving to a different city and state and all that?
They're pretty much okay with it. I mean, my parents are excited. They're just happy that I'm following my dream, that I got my dream job. And I mean that it's still going to be back and forth. It's not so bad. Like my wife's family, a lot of them, her two brothers live down where we used to live, so that's a bit of a drive. Her father, yeah, her father's about 4-hour drive away from here, so it's not too bad. It's doable. So for like weekend visits or holidays, it's not that bad at all. So I'm just following the dream. It may sound selfish, but as long as my wife was okay with the move and my son, he was kind of okay. But he's still young. But as long as my wife was okay with it, that's all that mattered.
Good. So I've never heard much about your former career. I know you did something with technology because you've talked about it preparing you for investigating ghost gadgets and stuff. You want to talk about the career now that you've left behind just shortly? Like what did that entail?
So I had a few careers. I was in automotive. I went and got training and education in automotive repair. So I was a mechanic for a while. And then I took that knowledge and went to aerospace. So I was building helicopters from the ground up, like everything from the ground up. And I did that for several years and got a better offer from Siemens, which is for their X-ray machine division. So I was in local hospitals in the Philadelphia area, downtown Philly, and servicing all the X-ray machines in operating rooms, which was a stressful kind of career because I found myself many times working on a system underneath a patient that was open on the table.
Oh,
so not a fun experience, and having doctors and nurses yelling and screaming at you to get this fixed now
Well, I'm glad I
And
don't have any surgery scheduled for any time soon because I'd be thinking about that. What
well,
happens if the
luckily,
equipment breaks down in the middle of a surgical procedure?
I mean, it didn't happen often. I want to reassure you, it did not happen often, but once in a while, yes, it did happen. And I mean, there's procedures in place, but I was able to get everything fixed and everything was fine. But I mean, for the most part, I was working really late, and that really got me on the path. Like I need to do something different. But then I actually went back to aerospace because the place that I had worked at needed people. They needed people. They had big military contracts that were coming up, and they needed a lot of people. So I went back there for a while. And so basically my entire career has been figuring out what a problem is and fixing it. And those skills of paying attention to details, of testing things, trying to figure out if it works, what this does, what that does, if I switch this off or cross these wires, what happens? You know, all of this has lead up to basically the tools you need for critical thinking. Pay attention to details, ask questions, go to the source. You know, these are all skills that developed over time. And
So it's the process and procedure, as well as knowing what equipment does, which is a big thing in the modern current, I'll say, ghost hunting world, where they just get these, something they buy online. It beeps and makes noise. It flashes lights. And it's like, ooh, this must be detecting ghosts. And no one ever, opens it up to figure out what the hell it is. And like you opened up something and it was like a cat toy.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, you know what? And I would say a lot of the ignorance is just, it's not on purpose. People, how do I want to say this? Ghost hunting is a hobby that anyone can do. You can see it on TV, and it's one of them things where it looks really cool on TV, and you can do it in real life, just like they do it on TV. And you can't do that with a lot of things. You can't go play professional football. You can't do ski jump. You can't do cross country running, marathons, and stuff like that if you're not into that. But pretty much anyone can say, oh, well, I can pick up a gadget that I can get off of Amazon and I can be a ghost hunter. I can go to a haunted location and, look around in the dark and scare the shit out of myself. Anyone can do that. So it's appealing. It's very appealing to the general public. And when you're talking about a general public that is very science illiterate in today's world, it's even more appealing because you don't have to know anything. You can pretend to be scientific or scientifical, as Sharon Hill puts it, because you see what they do on TV. And if you mirror them, you're doing science. That's what it looks like. And I get the appeal. I get the basic understanding of that. And once they do it for several years, they get used to it. It becomes routine. It's tribal knowledge. And when someone like us walks in and goes, well, have you all ever thought about this? Or did you open it up? Do you know it's not used for that? You start questioning their beliefs,
right?
And they freak out. So it's that what's that? What's the word? The term cognitive dissonance. Yeah, because they're presented with that information that contradicts what they believe, and that internal struggle. You almost see smoke coming out their ears because their gears are grinding, and they're like, "Well, what he says kind of makes sense, but I already believe this." And then they dig the heels in and stick with it. Go ahead.
So you've told the story before, but people haven't heard. Could you give like the 2-minute version of when that happened to you? Right? What got you out of being an all-in true believer ghost hunter? Something to do with Gettysburg, as I recall.
Oh, yes.
Right?
All right. So I'll give you the short version. Basically, I was in Gettysburg for a ghost conference. It was a long time ago. I was still a ghost hunter. I went out to a secret spot with a group of friends in the battlefield, and some of the ghost hunters from that conference also went out. I was already in that spot. it was this very secret spot. Nobody's supposed to know about it. We heard it from rangers saying it was very active, and all the park rangers stayed away from it. They were afraid of it. So I was like, this is cool. This is our territory. We're keeping this. So as we're sitting there in the woods, a little patch of woods next to the wheat field in Gettysburg.
At night.
At night, yes, because you have to ghost hunt at night. You can't do it during the
You know,
day.
I'd love to, explore why ghosts go away in the daytime, but
Light refraction, and I don't know. I'm just bullshitting. So I look across the field, I see a bunch of cars coming down, and they park halfway down the wheat field, so about 300 yards from us. And I see them get out. I see flashlights, I see laser pointers. A bunch of them, about a dozen, walk into the field. Then they turn, start walking towards us, and I start getting nervous, like, oh, they're going to discover us. They're going to find us. So I walk out of the woods and I scream at them to go away, to shut up, because they were making a lot of noise, and some other things that I can't really quote here. But they stopped. They ran back to their cars. They drove away. Mission accomplished. So we go through the night. Nothing happens. Next morning, we get up, go down to the conference, start hearing stories about people seeing an apparition of a soldier the night before, ask questions. We start asking questions. We find out that they were in the wheat field same time we were, and they start describing a soldier that came out of the woods from the edge of the wheat field and screamed at them to go away, and then disappeared back into the woods. And it clicked in my head, like, that was me. That was definitely me. And I started giving them details, and they were like, well, yeah, but that wasn't what we saw. And I'm like, wait, you just said yes to what I told you, but then denied what I said. It's either yes or no.
So this is cognitive dissonance,
Yes.
and I want to keep believing what I believe and on exhibit. That's
Right.
what that is.
So no matter what I told them, they just didn't believe me. And
But
they
this
went
had an
about.
effect on you, because now you
Yes.
saw what you would have normally done, probably, if the situation
Right.
was reversed.
Right. I saw myself in them, thinking, wow, dude, how many times have I done this? And that reflection really led to, like, yes, I have done this. And that's hard. That's really hard to admit to yourself, that
Right.
you deceived yourself, you deceived others for what? Like attention, for popularity, for just to bask in the fake experience that you created. Basically, yes, that's what I did. And so that really set me on the path of discovering skepticism and thinking things through and trying to figure out what the hell I was doing wrong, which was a lot. And it led me to here.
That, freak random experience changed your life, and
Yeah.
out of it you got your dream job, and CSI got a new chief investigator, so that's fantastic.
Yay. Everyone's happy.
Yay for being thought of as a ghost at Gettysburg.
I mean, honestly, I'm glad it happened. I'm really glad it happened, because I feel weird saying it, but it opened my eyes. It really did. I had clouded vision. I had tunnel vision. Whatever vision you want to say I had, it was biased. And I just saw what I believed to be true, and I ignored anything that went against that. And realizing that really opened me up, and said, all right, this is great. Now I can really start to learn and understand what's going on.
Yeah, and hopefully what you write and present in your investigations will open other people's eyes, right? That's the point.
Right. And I try to write and make videos so I can answer the questions that someone like me 20 years ago, 30 years ago would ask.
Right. It's great to have the alternate perspective.
Yeah,
when doing
I can relate to both sides.
Perfect man for the job.
Nice. Thank you. I try.
All right, Kenny. Thanks again for your time, and congratulations again on scoring your dream job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.